Hi there, keto friends and family. This is Sten Ekberg. You're not going to want to miss this as we talk intermittent fasting. Hi everyone, I'm Sten Ekberg, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, I'm just some chick on keto. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel and tuning in. We're going to be talking about intermittent fasting and how that has helped me on my keto journey and how it can help you on your keto and low carb journey as well. So as I told you and mentioned in a previous video, there was a coworker that actually gave the keto diet merit for me because it was something I had heard about multiple times through the years, but I was never a fad dieter. Matter of fact, I really hated the idea of dieting, and I just wasn't interested in doing it at all. Once I was kind of sold by my friend and coworker about the keto diet through her own personal experience, I said, well, I'm going to have to research and figure out a little bit more about what this diet is and how do I get started, etc. So one of the key people for me as I was researching was a doctor called Dr. Sten Ekberg. Dr. Ekberg is a holistic doctor and former decathlete, and I believe he's based out of Georgia. But he has a lot of information and videos out there about diabetes and insulin resistance and the ketogenic diet and just eating low carb in general. And so I started to watch his channel and his videos, and it was so informative because it was giving me the medical perspective that I never had before. And it encouraged me to basically go to my doctor and say, hey, do you think this is something that I can do, that I can start? You know, is it going to be an issue for me? Which, you know, I really didn't have a bunch of health issues. I had a couple things that were creeping up on me, but I could tell that I was insulin resistant just by my body shape and the way I was looking and how I was constantly gaining weight and how I was always trying to lose the weight, but yet it wasn't really coming off. You know, I was eating healthy, or so I thought, but not getting the results. So it just, a lot of things were resonating with me and clicking with me as I continued to do the research about starting this diet. Basically, through that, I realized that I needed to do intermittent fasting along with a ketogenic diet because I already knew from my past history that I had difficulty losing weight, that it didn't come easy for me, and that I was going to have to give my metabolism a great big push. And I feel like that's what fasting does for you, intermittent fasting. It gives your body that push to kind of get over the hurdles and get the metabolism moving, because I think I had slowed down my metabolism throughout the years just through the types of foods that I was eating. I was actually, I think, a carbaholic, and I just didn't realize how many carbs I was taking in and the effect that was having on my body. But basically, carbs are sugar, you know, and that sugar has to have some place to go because your body kicks out this insulin to try to deal with all this sugar. But if you've got all this glucose in your system, eventually the body kind of runs out of places to store it. It's like, well, I'm trying, but everything's full. So what do I do? I didn't realize what was happening. And, you know, I think if I had continued to wait, I probably would have been diagnosed diabetic, type 2 diabetic. But thankfully, I found this information out soon enough for it to make a difference in my life. And I'm not trying to say that if you are type 2 diabetic that it's too late. It's definitely not too late for you because you can reverse that. It's just the way that you go about trying to reverse all of this is just so contrary to what we would normally think. So again, I would encourage you to check out some of his videos because he goes more into the clinical aspect of it and you can get a deeper dive. And we're going to put a couple of links in the description so that you'll be able to click on those and check those out. But one of the things that Dr. Ekberg has talked about in some of his videos is like how we have always kind of thought that it's good to eat 3 meals a day and have these snacks. But what we don't really realize is happening is that we're constantly sending our blood sugar up. because every time we eat, we get an insulin response. And you know, that's true with most of the things that we would eat. There are a couple of exceptions, things that don't impact our blood glucose, but for the most part, when we eat, we have an insulin response triggered. And so what we're never really giving the body a chance to kind of come back down after it's spiked up from that meal or from that snack. And these windows of when we keep spiking the blood sugar are high because, you know, it's sort of like by the time it's coming down, well, we're eating again. We're not giving the body a chance to just kind of recover and space things out. All this time I thought, oh, well, it was good to kind of keep your blood sugar even, but you're not really keeping it even because it's going to go up when you eat. And you can test that for yourself if you buy the strips that we talked about in a prior video, in the tools video, Tools for Success. When you start checking your blood and you start realizing, wow, every time I eat, I see my sugar goes up. You know, it's going to go up because you've eaten and the body has to respond to it. Right now, I'm no longer that school of thought that frequent meals and snacks is the way to go. Now I understand that actually fasting is much better for my body, and it starts to reverse that whole overcrowding and stuffed cells effect for my body because, you know, all this time my body's been trying to cram all this glucose into the cells, and now hopefully it's reversing a lot of that damage by unclogging and repairing the cells, which is part of what intermittent fasting helps with. It breaks down a lot of the bad things in the cell, all the bad cells, and it helps to rebuild and increase the good cells. So again, I would encourage you to check out his video. We're going to have a link in the description, because basically when you start a ketogenic diet and a low carb diet, and you pair that with intermittent fasting, you're changing your metabolic pathway. You're going into teaching your body from burning glucose to burning fat, because all this time it's just been storing up the fat, and that's what was happening, this accumulation, right? Because the body had no place else to put things, so it had to convert it to fat. When you start the intermittent fasting, you're going to notice a bunch of benefits for your body, because your insulin sensitivity is going to increase, and that's a good thing. That's something you actually want. And exercise will help do the same thing as well. You're going to start reducing some of that belly fat as a result as well. It's going to help with like the loose and sagging skin. So as you're losing weight, because you're generating this autophagy from not eating, it's going to help with all of that loose and sagging skin. And when you pair this with exercise, it's really like that golden pearl, you know, because it's you're getting the benefits of both. It's boosting other things in your body when you exercise, other hormones and stuff, growth hormones, so that it's providing benefits from that aspect as well. So you kind of get benefits from both sides. And like I said, a lot of people do keto and low carb for health reasons. They might be type 2 diabetics. They might have inflammation or asthma or cancer or multiple sclerosis, or they might even be dealing with things like Alzheimer's. And these kind of diets are helping to reverse certain things for people. I can't claim that they are fixes for anything, but there is a study that Dr. Ekberg was talking about that was from a very reputable study from the New England Journal of Medicine, talking about the wonderful effects of fasting and the human body. So I'd encourage you to really give it a listen and check it out, because he's the medical expert. I am not. And then if you want to learn more about fasting in general, there's another doctor, Dr. Jason Fung, that you can find a lot of videos out there, and we will also have a link in the description for that. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys. We really appreciate you. Please don't forget to hit the like button if this was informative for you. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can continue getting content, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we put new things out there. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Bye-bye.